How's it going, people? I hope you're having a great week. Hope you're having a great day, whatever day you're watching this on. I hope your tribe groups are going well, that we're able to have some fun things to do with you guys. So this little 4-week series we're doing is called Vibe Check. So last week I did an awesome little video on what are you wearing. I talked about some of that, and now this week I'm going to talk about what are you eating. Now I'm going to ask you straight away, what are you eating? What type of food do you eat? Is that what we're going to talk about? I don't know. I myself eat a lot of takeaway, probably too much takeaway. I eat a lot of protein-rich foods. I probably don't get enough nutrients in my body. But we're not actually going to be talking about food. The food that we're talking about is spiritual food. Ooh, everyone says spiritual food. What on earth does he mean by spiritual food? Does that mean like the food that ghosts eat with their, the little ghosty hands? That's not what I mean. What I mean is like, what are you feeding your soul with? Just like we'd feed our normal body with food, like you go down to Macca's, get a Big Mac or double quarter pounder, you chomp on that, get some nourishment or not. A bit of lack of nourishment maybe, or maybe you'll pick up a piece of fruit when you're feeling a bit hungry. What are you feeding your soul with? And if you're a bit confused by that, what are the things that you do when you get home, when you've had a big day, and you just want to sort of chill out? You want to feed your soul with some stuff. Do you turn to Netflix? Do you go watch some Netflix? Or maybe you're a gamer like me and you just go sit on that, I won't turn the camera because then it'll go out of focus, but sit at your computer and play some games for way too many hours. Or maybe you go on your phone and you read Facebook or you watch YouTube. Everyone has stuff that they feed their soul with. Some of us, like me, feed our soul too much with some of these things, like computer games. I play way too many of those. And so I want to sort of talk to you guys a bit, because I think this is something that I personally can relate to a lot and I personally struggle with. What I've found is that when I feed myself with these types of things, when I feed myself with, spiritually speaking, with like, say I'm feeling pretty crap, or I've had a big day, or I'm feeling pretty awful, and I turn to my computer to make me feel better. Sure, it might work for a little bit, or maybe I turn to Netflix and I start watching some cool Netflix shows. I binge watch The Tiger King, which I did, or I watch Gotham for the 5th time, Serenity. It makes me feel good for a while. I'm like, yeah, I feel distracted from life, I feel entertained, but by the end of it, or even sometimes during it, I start to realize this isn't really fulfilling me. This isn't really making me feel that good. I mean, a great example for me is in my games. I like to go for like all the really shiny and expensive items that like are hard to get, and I spend ages and I pour heaps of hours into my games to try and get them. And then when I finally get them, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to be satisfied. My soul's going to be fed. I've finally accomplished this goal I've set, and I get it, and I'm happy for about maximum 30 minutes, and then I'm bored again, and I'm like, man, that didn't really fill me up. That didn't really satisfy me. I still need more, but what do I need? I guess I'll just go for the next item, or maybe I'll just go watch a show instead or something. But I want to read to you from John chapter 6 verse 35 in the Bible, because Jesus says something interesting here. It says in John chapter 6 verse 35, Jesus said, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." Now that's a bit of a strange thing to say if we're just talking about real food, right? Because surely if we go to Jesus, we're not going to actually get physical bread to eat and physical water to drink. And surely we won't stop being thirsty and hungry. I mean, that doesn't sound right? But what Jesus is talking about here is what I mentioned earlier. It's that spiritual food. He's saying, if you come to me, I am the bread of life. I am the bread that will satisfy you and keep satisfying you every time, forever. I am the water that you would drink and never be thirsty again. See, I can go to my computer and I can try to use that as my bread or my sustenance, my food, or I can try to drink from the water of Netflix. It sounded so strange. But you get what I'm saying here. I can go try all these other things, and in the end they never really truly satisfy. They never really make me, they just leave me feeling thirsty again later, or make me feeling hungry again later. I think a good example of this, let me put like a picture in your mind. Picture life like a desert, right? And you and I are walking through this desert. And you know, who knows that when you're in a desert it gets pretty hot, it gets pretty scorching out there, and you get pretty hungry and thirsty pretty quick. And also, who knows that Coke, when you're thirsty, man does that taste good, am I right? I think nothing tastes better than Coke when you're really, really warm, really, really hot, really, really thirsty, and you just like, man, you hear that crack as you open the Coke and you're like, ah, it's the best. And I imagine that life's a bit like this. You're walking through this desert, and as you're walking through it, there's all these things in life, all these merchants offering you Coke to drink. And when you're really thirsty, you're going to snatch that Coke up, right? You're going to be like, yes, give me that, I'm really thirsty, bam, drink it back. Problem with Coke is though, it doesn't actually make you less thirsty. Maybe for a few minutes, but it actually leaves you more thirsty than when you first drank it. So when you go around drinking this Coke, maybe it makes you feel better for a little bit, right? It makes you feel better for, you know, maybe 30 minutes or so. But then you start to realize, oh wait a sec, that didn't actually really fill me up. That didn't really fill me up. Okay, well I better go get some more Coke, right? And you keep going to this Coke of life, Coca-Cola of life, and it never really satisfies you. It always just leaves you thirsty and wanting more. But when it comes to Jesus, he says, I am the water that you can drink. I am the living water that you can drink and never be thirsty again. It's like going through this desert, and instead of these Coke stands, instead of going to these Coke stands, you've got right by your side, you've got a cool flask of cold water that will never run out. You can keep drinking from that whenever you need it. And that water will satisfy you. And that water is just like what Jesus is saying. He says, anyone who comes to me, it's like they've dug a deep well into the ground that just pours water out of it. So what Jesus is saying is he's saying, the things of life, the things that you go to in life are not going to satisfy you. The only thing that will satisfy you is if you come to me. If you come to me, those who come to me will never be thirsty, spiritually thirsty again. Those who come to me will never be spiritually hungry again. You can chase after everything that you want in this life. You can try to become rich and famous. You can do whatever you want. And you'll find that nothing is ever going to satisfy that hunger in your heart, that hunger in your soul to be filled up, to be satisfied. So why don't we just finish here? And my challenge for you guys this week is to go out, because this sounds all very vague, right? Eat spiritual food and stuff. I think my challenge for you guys this week, and you can do this on your app, on a phone, called the Bible app, or you can do this with an actual physical Bible. I just want you guys to pick up the Bible. Oh man, that's a hard task, right? I want you to pick it up and put it back. No, I don't want you to put it back down. I want you to pick it up. I want you to go and read John, the Gospel of John. If you can't find it on the YouVersion Bible app, you open up the Bible app there and you type in this bar down here, John. Not 1 John, 2 John or 3 John, because they're all different books, just John. And I want you to try reading just a little bit each day. Just read some of that, because it's all about Jesus' life. It's where he calls himself the bread of life and the water of life, right? And I want you to either before or after you've started reading a bit of it, I want you to pray and say, hey God, I'm not so sure about all this. I'm not so sure if you're really, if you are who you say you are, but if you are who you say you are, I want you to reveal to yourself to me while I'm reading this. I want you to highlight things in my mind as I'm reading this. I want you to sustain me spiritually as I read this. Alright, I hope you enjoy this week. Let me just finish with a quick prayer, guys, and then we'll send us back to our tribes. Dear Jesus, thank you so much that whenever we're feeling hungry or thirsty in our soul, we can turn to you, Jesus, and your promise is this, that you are the bread of life, that whoever comes to you will never be hungry, and whoever comes to you will never be thirsty, because you will fill them up. I pray that you'd be with us this week, that you would sustain us as we turn to you, Jesus, and that you would fill that hole in our lives, that God-sized hole that only you can fill, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen. Catch us later.